will see a short introduction of who we are, and then we go straight to the crop technical issues. And then at the end of the presentation, you can see some more in-depth details about our offers, what we offer in terms of IoT and services. Basically, our 30 years old company is Ageon, which was founded in 1994 with the sole aim to promote soilless solutions in Italy. As the time was passing by, we saw that the needs of our customers and the requests for solutions was also coming from abroad. So we have become a more international oriented company. In 2008, I joined the group and I founded AgeonTech, which is the company division of agronomic consultancy in greenhouses, with specific specialization on hydroponics and soilless. About 4 years ago, now it's 5 years, we founded also the SITIF, which is the Italian school for hydroponics and soilless. In the beginning, we started to offer some training courses for teaching how to become a grower inside a greenhouse, a soilless greenhouse, once the completed the university studies, in order to be able to manage a greenhouse. So our approach is very practical, so that grower can step inside a greenhouse and knows already what to deal with and how to deal with the greenhouse. The APP, AgeonTech Production Protocol, is an operational method with a specific approach based on nutrient analysis. So we have a laboratory, a Dutch laboratory, Normek Grunagro Control, which is our 20 years old, now it's 24 years that we collaborate with this laboratory. The greenhouse data collection, which we do via the IoT tool, which is G.IoT.To, is named G.IoT.To, Greenhouse IoT tool. And we have an overlook over the crops on distance thanks to the crop registration module. We also manage the labor operations on crops, so we give advice on how to work on the plants. We analyze pictures and videos coming from the customers so that we can give an on-distance support. And then on-site visits, of course, so we can visit from time to time our customers, or virtual visits, which was a solution for the customers that are located very far away from where we are and that need to receive sudden support. Then we can do that by using tablets or smartphones directly in the greenhouse. We introduced this possibility during the COVID lockdown, and we kept these possibilities available also for nowadays advice. And then on distance or remote advice with all the media, all the medium, let's say WhatsApp rather than text messages, or video connections and remote desktop control. What we do with our AgeonTech Production Protocol is basically to combine all these ingredients in order to collect information as to the point as possible, and in order to make the crops respond to in the same way to the same inputs. So we measure the performances of the plant, and we assess these performances in numbers. We translate these performances in numbers. We do that thanks to the sensors that are mainly ARANET sensors connected to our MyAgeon platform, which we see in a while. All this approach is available either on tomatoes with peppers, eggplants, courgettes, strawberry, raspberries, blueberries, aromatic herbs, basil, etc. What we do is basically to combine the G.IoT.To information coming from the Greenhouse Internet of Things tool with the MyAgeon platform, where you will see all this data be mixed all together and centralized in order to have one single platform where to see all of the information about the greenhouse, the chemical nutritional analysis that we perform via the Dutch laboratory Normek Green Agro Control, and the APP AgeonTech production protocol, which we call it the perfect circle. The importance of data in hydroponics and soilless crops. Well, I would say data are not important only for soilless crops. We speak about importance of data also in soil crops. Our main insight, our main expertise is in soilless crops. But all we will see today together is something that is applicable also to soil crops. Data represent a crucial pillar in precision agriculture, playing a key role in optimizing agricultural production, both in terms of quality and quantity. They offer valuable insights, taking into account the specification of various types of substrates and crops. Precision agriculture uses digital technologies to collect, analyze, and use data to improve results. So basically, we do nothing with numbers unless we know what the numbers are saying, what they are informing us about. In this dynamic context, every information counts and contributes to outlining more effective and efficient agricultural strategies. Data are key factors for taking the right decisions, optimizing available resources, and accurately monitoring plant growth. So how we do all these things? First of all, let's just clarify for well, I don't know everybody of you, so I don't know how much in depth is your knowledge about soilless, but just to give a definition, and soilless is basically a plant production without the roots are in soil. So the roots are normally, in the biggest majority of the cases, in substrates or otherwise known as growing media. These substrates can be various, so we will see a slide in a while. This is especially a solution that is followed for the fruit crops, just like tomatoes, eggplants, and courgette and whatsoever. Otherwise, the possibility is to have roots in water, and in this case is strictly known as hydroponics. The roots in water is water with nutrients, with a nutrient solution. Can be a deep flow or a floating system, so rafts that float on water. The nutrient film technique and the mobile galley system, where basically the water is flowing in a gutter where the roots are standing, etc. There are other different possibilities for hydroponics. The last is roots in air or aeroponics. In this case, the roots are hanging from in a gutter, and the gutter has a pipe that sprays water and nutrients to the roots once in a while. In this way, the plant can uptake water and nutrients. Why soilless? So why it is so important nowadays to speak about soilless crops instead of traditional crops, conventional crops, because the main goal is to get a higher productivity. Let's say that normally, if we compare greenhouse crops in soil to soilless crops in a greenhouse, productivities can be from a minimum of 20% higher production to 200% more production, and even more when we speak about extra light, artificial light, and whatsoever. But the other very important goal is to get a higher quality. So mainly having a higher quality means to be able to sell at a better price in supermarket, in GOD essentially. So where the requests are for the highest quality of the products and for a long base of shelf life. It depends on if we are speaking about cut flowers or fruits. So the longer the shelf life, the better for the supermarkets. And another goal is to have clean products without soil parasites or animals, because when we have products coming from the soil, it happens to find maybe worms or insects, or I remember a picture, even a frog inside the plastic bag. Other goal is to have a shorter that time, so to reduce the time in between two different crops. Let's speak about, for example, what happens with tomatoes or aubergines or cucumbers, that at a certain point in time in the crop needs to be pinched and finished to harvest, and then the grower needs 2 to 4 weeks time for cleaning up everything and implement hygiene protocols, and then to transplant again. Production 12 months a year, it's something else that is extremely important, especially for the growers that have fixed contracts with the GOD. And last but not least, water saving. It is a possibility to irrigate not all of the ground, all of the soil with overhead irrigation, for example, but to give drip irrigation right to the roots. And roots are in soilless, are in small volumes, just in substrates or in water or in air, in gutters, in very small volumes, where all the water and nutrients must be concentrated in order for the plant to uptake what it is needed. And soilless allows also to have the drainage recycling. So the excess of water that is irrigated can be reused against disinfection first, in order to avoid environment pollution, and to also optimize the production costs, because by recycling the drainage, we also reuse some excess of nutrients that normally would be thrown away. In this way, we can reuse by, as an average, saving 20 to 30% of fertigation costs, fertilizer costs. And then we have reduction of chemical treatments, because normally when the plant is reacting better to a certain treatment, then we can have a stronger plant that is more resilient, and they can react better to pathogens and parasites and pests threats. This possibility is so extreme that we can even grow with zero residues. So without having residues chemical residues at the end of the crop, or when selling the fresh produce. In some cases, even without having at all to intervene with chemical molecules. Nowadays, we have several different possibilities of soilless greenhouses, but mainly we can divide them into, especially in the Mediterranean area, in high technology and low technology greenhouses. We will see some pictures of different approaches to these two technologies, but mainly the size of the greenhouse can be, or we have customers where with low technology and 30 or 40 or 50 hectares of greenhouses without any climate computer or automatic ventilation or no heating at all whatsoever. Climate computer is something that it is a must to have in the high technology, whereas it can also not be present in terms of low technology. Normally, low technology is steered with a climate computer only in case a customer has either a high technology greenhouse and a low technology greenhouse. Otherwise, normally the cost for a climate computer is retained to be too high for a low technology greenhouse. This is a mistake, but this is how it is. Fertigation, so the combination of irrigation and fertilization and the addition of fertilizers is a must to have in both cases, because being in soilless, anyhow, we have to give either water and nutrients to the root zone. And a greenhouse manager or a greenhouse technician is normally a person that is available at the high technology greenhouses. It can depend on the low technology greenhouses, because most of the times the owner is also the one taking care of the crops. Otherwise, when we have very big low tech greenhouses, then a greenhouse manager can be there. At the end of this, I just want to highlight that the soilless system is based on the technology of water-based used for irrigation. So water is quality and water availability is extremely important in these cases. Why that? Because sometimes we have seen some greenhouses to be built in places where the water quality is very poor, or the water availability is very poor. And of course, this is a problem when the crop is in there and needs to be irrigated. So first of all, it is very important to make a physical and chemical analysis of the irrigation water available on spot, and also a quantification of the water available in order to avoid to have too few water for the extreme periods in which the plants need a lot of water, which is summer, by the way. This is just an overview of the low-tech greenhouses. So just some multi-tunnel or single tunnels with no pipe rail and no heating at all. Here you see a pipe rail, but in this greenhouse was just used for the trolleys, but not for heating. And anyhow, you see that the production can be still decent once you can steer irrigation and nutrition and the right way of labor management. Whereas this is the approach with high-tech solutions, where we have Of course, in the newest greenhouses also LED lights, artificial light, or HPS lights, hanging gutters, thermal screen or shade screen, pipe rail for heating, even growth pipes, drip irrigation, already some climate computers that produce with their measuring boxes some graphs already, but sometimes these sensors are too few compared to all of the needs that we have to understand how a crop is performing. Now we go to the substrate. So we have discussed about soilless and said that most of the times you will face greenhouse, or you will meet greenhouses with substrates rather than pure hydroponics or aeroponics. In this slide, you can see the most used substrates worldwide, which are perlite, coco coir, stone wool, and peat moss. In this line, I highlighted that more or less, if we speak about the water retention curve, we start from the lowest water retention with perlite and go with the highest water retention with some types of peat moss. And this water retention is increasing as we go from perlite to coco coir or to stone wool or peat moss. Vice versa, the porosity and the air capacity of the substrate is decreasing when we go from more aerated substrate like perlite and more water retention substrates like peat moss. But several of these combinations are possible, other combinations are possible related to granulometry. For example, very fine coco coir peat compared to a thick stone wool, a thick fiber stone wool, can make the coco coir become more wet than thick fiber stone wool. Or very fine perlite can be more wet than chips of coco coir. So there are other possibilities. So the granulometry is one possibility. Percentage of fine and large fibers, even going to the biggest parts of coco coir, which are chips, and chips are wooden parts made of about 0.5 0.5 centimeters of side, and direction and thickness of the fibers, which is the case of stone wool. So this scale is not something that can be found like it is shown here everywhere, but it depends on granulometry, percentage of fine and large fibers, and thickness and direction of fibers. In order to understand how substrate behaves, we have to think about it as a sponge. Basically, if we have 10 parts of water and we distribute these 10 parts of water on a dried sponge or substrate, what we will have is that plus minus 5 parts of water will be retained by the substrate, whereas 5 other parts will get off the substrate and will result in drainage. In case of the same 10 parts of water, but given in small irrigations, in small and several times, what we have to the same dried sponge or substrate. What we have is that in total we are giving the same quantity of water, but the substrate is retaining much more water compared to the drainage. So we see that the total quantity of water is not the only issue to keep in mind in order to understand whether we have to use one strategy or the other strategy. So a low frequency of irrigation with big flushes, or high frequency of irrigations with small irrigations. Why? Because, for example, this first approach is something that is more useful in case of low light intensity, when we need to give more drainage and to reduce the substrate water content, or with multi-year used substrate. So in a substrate that is already having some old roots inside that already retain water by themselves. Whereas the second approach, high frequency and small irrigation, is more suitable for high light intensity days. So when the plant is transpiring more, so we need the roots are having more water available at the root zone, and new substrate. So the substrate that normally tends to give more drainage. So in that case, we can give more frequent irrigations. We see that irrigation management is something useful also in terms of drainage and electrical conductivity steering. So the total salinity steering in a substrate. If we take our 10 parts of water given in 5 different irrigations in a substrate, we see that out of these 10 parts, 7 parts plus minus, more or less, this is an average, will be absorbed by the plant in order to compensate mainly the leaf evapotranspiration, and 3 parts, so the 30% of the total, will be drained. But what is drain? Why should we have drainage in a soilless crop? Well, the roots absorb minerals from the nutrient solution, but the minerals ratio changes randomly. So what we give in with the nutrient solution is not what the plant takes with the same ratio that we have given in a nutrient solution. So this creates competition among the various nutrients. Let's just figure out, maybe the plant in a certain moment during the year needs to uptake extra potassium, and this is making more calcium and more magnesium remain into the root zone. But at a certain point in time, this extra magnesium and calcium will become so highly concentrated that it will compete with potassium uptake. So there is where drainage can help. Drainage is the result of extra irrigated water, so water that is not needed for the uptake of the plant. And this water replaces the unbalanced nutrients in the slab in order to restore the equilibrium of minerals. So by doing this, we mechanically remove the 30% of drainage and remove the excess of some elements or the unbalanced elements with new nutrient solution. Furthermore, drainage allows water content uniformity in the substrate. If we don't get drainage or don't get enough drainage, we will see that, especially in some type of substrates, we will see a big difference in slab water content and slab EC between the slabs inside the greenhouse. And this will result in loss of uniformity among the plants. But steering the EC is not something that can solve the issues, all of the issues in the plant, because managing EC is not a guarantee of good nutrition. There are more saline elements and less saline elements. So this means that if we add extra calcium or extra chloride or extra nitrate or extra sodium, we don't get the same increase or decrease of the EC. And here, because the EC is a mere undifferentiated sum of salts, it does not tell anything about how much calcium is there, how much potassium is there, and whatsoever. That's why we need the laboratory analysis. Here we see an example. The first example is a type of balanced nutrition. Numbers are expressed in millimoles per liter. If we have 6 of potassium, 8 of calcium, 3 of magnesium, etc., then we get EC3. And in this case, not a problem. The plant can, a tomato, for example, can stand with that. It's not a problem. But in case of the second example, we see that potassium has diminished to 4. Calcium goes down to 6. Magnesium to 2. But we see that sodium that was 0 becomes 8. And chloride that was 0 becomes 8. So in this case, we will have exactly the same EC, but we will have an unbalanced nutrition. And this will create some physiological disorders in the plant, just like, for example, the blossom end rot on tomatoes and magnesium deficiency on leaves. So that's why it's very important to send regularly samples to a laboratory in order to understand how many of every single, how much of every single element is in there, and to correct the nutrient solution. If we speak about the irrigation strategy in a 24 hours, what we do in terms of EC and water content management. This is a graph where you can see water content in blue line and EC in red line. That is typical in spring, summer, or beginning of fall, so in bright days. In a bright day, we have that during the night, the slab water content is diminishing. After the sunrise, it diminishes faster. Then we start with the first irrigation, and the water content increases. Second irrigation, the water content increases again. There is where the EC starts to stop increase, because we start to have so much runoff, so much drainage, that the drainage is taking down the value of EC. So the value of EC goes down of about 0.5 to 1 millisiemens per centimeter. And then we have to irrigate with very frequent, these first two irrigation are bigger, but the other irrigation are with smaller irrigation that simply need to keep the maximum level of water content achieved with the first big sessions. Then we keep the, by doing this, we continue draining, and we keep the EC stable in bright days, so that we avoid the EC to increase, which will result in a difficulty of compensating the evapotranspiration, leaf evapotranspiration. As we see, the delta water content in summer should be around 8 to 10%. It can be 6% for flowers. It can be higher for some other crops, but this is just to give you a glance. Whereas the delta EC can go down of 0.5 to 1, in some cases even higher decrease. Whereas this is 24 hours management in terms of for winter or dull days. In this case, we don't need to have many small irrigation, but just a few ones and bigger irrigation. So you see that when we start irrigating, the water content increases, then second irrigation increases again, third irrigation increases again, and then, of course, if we are in winter, the day is so the daylight is so narrow that we don't need to give extra irrigations anymore. In such a case, we don't need to have a very high drainage. Just, I forgot to tell you, in the previous one, the drainage can vary easily between 40 and 25%. So say an average of the 30, 35%, as we said earlier in the previous slide. Whereas in winter, it can be lower. It can be 10 to 25%. This means that the slab EC can even not diminish zero, or just diminish a little bit, 0.5 millisieverts per centimeter. In general, when we think about a plant, we should remember that the plant works as it is. It was a sugar factory. The plant has to optimize this photosynthesis formula, where carbon dioxide plus water, thanks to the light, gives as a result sugar, glucose, and oxygen. In order to maximize the result of this photosynthesis, we have to make the ingredients of this formula increase. How? We can, because if we have poor ingredients, so let's say, for example, low water CO2 or poor light, then we will have a poor photosynthesis, poor sugar. Then the solution, what are the solutions? Carbon enrichment, so to increase the CO2 levels in the greenhouse, dehumidification and desertification, which is the use of fans, especially in greenhouses, by reducing humidity around the leaves. The leaf is closing the stomata faster and taking the CO2 from the environment faster. Of course, plant hydration by the roots. We need to irrigate and to keep the as much as possible clean roofs, especially in winter periods, and to use plastic or glass roofs with the maximum light transmittance. The last but not least, of course, is artificial light, when we want to grow through very dark periods. So we have to keep in mind how to maximize sugar in a plant. This is another graph that helps us to understand this point. We have the yellow line, which is the efficiency of photosynthesis, so how much energy comes from the photosynthesis based on temperature. So when the temperature rises too much, then the energy obtained with the photosynthesis start to decrease. Whereas the red line is the respiration, so how much the plant is using of the created energy with the photosynthesis. We see that the temperature, the higher the temperature, the higher the energy consumption. So basically, in terms of net assimilation rate, we have to try to work always in this part of the curve where the temperature is not too high and the excess of sugar produced by the plant is positive compared to the use of energy. Because if we start to work with a plant which is warmer, then we can see a negative net assimilation rate with the plant that can consume more energy than what produced by the plant. And in that case, then we see that the plant is losing roots and having problems in general. If we speak about the vigor parameters, well, vigor in a plant is the strength, how much the plant is strong. So we can measure that in several different ways. Stem diameter, the higher, the stronger. Head, stem color, if it is violet or purple, that means that the plant is making a lot of photosynthesis, so the plant is strong. Of leaf shape, when it's bubbly and thick, then the plant is strong, and several other parameters. All of these parameters allow us to understand whether the plant is strong or it is weak. And based on this evaluation that we can, in some cases, see with our eyes when we are in a greenhouse. In other cases, we can measure with the crop measurements, what we call the crop registration, which we will see in a while. Then we can react in a way. For example, the most frequent actions for vigor, in case the stem diameter is lower than the optimal, then we have a weak plant, is to reduce the temperature of the night so we can heat less or open more the vents in a greenhouse at night in order to make the plant grow slower. Also, we can reduce the fruit load by removing more fruits with a higher pruning, or by de-leafing more. If we expose more fruits to the light, then they ripen earlier, and we can pick the fruits, harvest the fruits earlier. Another possibility is to increase the carbon dioxide to maximize CO2 and make the plant stronger. In case the stem diameter is higher than optimal, then we have a strong plant, and then we understand that we can do something more. Then the night temperature can increase, so the plant can grow faster. Otherwise, the fruit load can increase, then we can produce more if the plant is strong. So less pruning, so many more fruits on a truss, or de-leaf less, especially when it is too hot, to reduce the ripening speed that can make the fruits too small. In some cases, especially where in cold greenhouses where it is not, we cannot use heating, it is possible to remove a top leaf when there is too much sun shining and with a crop that is very small, so it makes too much photosynthesis, and we have no possibility for increasing the temperature. Whereas in terms of equilibrium, so whether the plant is vegetative, so makes more leaves and less flowers and fruits, or more generative, the opposite, makes less leaves and more fruits and more quickly flowers and fruits. So we can measure which way with the head distance, this distance between the last open flower and the top of the plant. When it is higher, we have a vegetative plant, lower a generative plant. Based on the truss shape, if it is upwards, then we have a vegetative plant. If it is curved, it is a generative plant. Leaf color, light or dark, means vegetative or generative. Leaf shape, flat or curved. Leaf size, and whatsoever. You see, there are several different possibility to measure also the plant performances. Also, in this case, once we have read the figures and we have understood what, then we have to know what to do is a reaction. Then we can go to the most frequent action for equilibrium. In case we have head distance, which is higher than the optimal, then we have a vegetative plant. What we do? We increase the day and night delta temperature, so we make more difference between day and night temperature. We can increase the 24 hours temperature, lower the relative humidity, or anyhow to increase the humidity deficit so that the plant can transpire more quickly. And by doing this, it gives a more generative reaction to compensate the fact that the plant is vegetative, more desertification or increase the ventilation. So again, to make the plant transpire more, increase drip and slab drainage or drainage EC. So when we work with a higher EC, the plant becomes more generative. Increase the delta water content between maximum and minimum. So you have seen before in the graph, we went from 8, 10 delta water content to 15, even 15. Well, in that case, that makes the plant more generative. And we can also do something on the nutrition side by giving more sulfates and chlorides and reduce nitrates and ammonia, because these compounds are more vegetative. In case we have head distance which is lower than the optimal, then we have a regenerative plant. And then what we do? Basically the opposite of what we have just said. If you see decreased delta temperature day and night, decreased 24 hours temperature and whatsoever. It's all the opposite of what we have said before. So basically how we can steer a crop then in a greenhouse, knowing all of this and many more other crop technical points. Well, we have implemented a system that can work based on some data collection that comes automatically from the greenhouse, thanks to the ARNet technology with some sensors that we use to collect a number of crop data. And this information go to the MyAgeon platform. Basically, what is the MyAgeon is a multi-level cloud platform developed by Ageon ourselves for the constant and complete greenhouse monitoring. MyAgeon is scalable and allows to keep all parameters and information related to the various crops in a greenhouse. Through MyAgeon, you can virtually represent your company by sector, crop, greenhouse, showing common sensors and dedicated ones in the meantime. You can have a user-friendly real-time view and detailed analytics graphs for a deep crop assessment. You can easily control each company greenhouse division remotely using dashboard, crop registration, analytics, alarms, pictures, and analysis, laboratory analysis, what we call one platform for services. In order to make you understand better what we are speaking about, this is just a moment. I see there is a question. Oh, somebody that has to leave. Okay, I will reply to the question later. So we were mentioning the MyAgeon platform. This is the dashboard. Basically, on the dashboard, you can see a few information. Let's put it in English. Maybe it's better for everybody. So the total number of greenhouses connected, how many sensors are connected, if there are active alarms, which is the weather condition in the next 5 hours, and where we are in the from sunrise to sunset. Then we have a number of these kind of speed sensors that tell us automatically at a glance if we are in a red zone alarm. This means we are maybe in a difficulty, or yellow zone, or green zone, which is the optimal. Either in average daily drainage, slab water content, AZ, water EC, internal radiation, sum and whatsoever. So you see there are quite some measurements that at a glance that can tell you whether things are running smooth or not. And then here you have the list of sensors. All of the sensors are with battery. All of these ones that are connected to the plug. and you can see the level of the sensors of the batteries. Then we have the analytics graphs, where we can visualize a number of information about that we can switch on and off from this list here on the top at a glance in a greenhouse. These are real-time data coming from a greenhouse, and we can either select today or last 30 minutes, last hour, yesterday, 2 weeks, 7 days, whatever. Just have another visualization just to give you an idea of how it is working. You see all of the lines in 7 days. Then we can just zoom in, zoom out, and do everything. By staying here, we can see every single parameter, which is the level, the measured level in the single moment. And here, some table information, measurements about some sensors, water EC, substrate water content, the minimum, maximum, the average values, and whatsoever, and the percentage of drainage. Then to let you see also the crop registration part, you see that all of these registration are filled in automatically by the ARANET sensors. So what we do is we connect all of the ARANET sensors from the greenhouse to the MyAgeon platform, and the MyAgeon can record automatically all of the data. Average 24 hours temperature, day temperature, night temperature, day by day, and it calculates the average. This is for the inside climate, irrigation. So all of the information about irrigation, you see these are all automatic filled in information. Then here, okay, we have also crop registration information. So all of the information coming from a crop, but I guess it is in week 1. Let me see. No, not here. Anyhow, but this information are can be filled in with an app from a smartphone or tablet, so that you can type in the crop measurements directly on a tablet, and it automatically fills in all these tables. And in the lower part, we see pictures. So pictures shot with the app are automatically uploaded here without having to download on a computer and then play somewhere else and then transmit on distance whatsoever. You can visualize everything in here. All of these pictures are used for completing the overview of the crop. And then we have also the report. So when we work with the on-distance consultancy based on the crop registration, we can write down a comment and then some actions. And then the customer can also fill in how much he did of the suggested actions. We have measured that everything that is above 80% is pretty much perfect. Then we have the alarms. So the alarms are custom, can be customized. You can choose whatever sensor, whatever value you want to keep, and create a new alarm. And this alarm, when it is on, it informs you automatically on the app or via text message. So it can immediately give you an information of something is not going right in the crop. And the last part is analysis. So in this case, If you work with our laboratory in the Netherlands, then as soon as the analyses are available, then they can be visualized in here. For example, this is a visualization of an analysis from Normek Grunagro Control. And then we can also calculate a nutrient solution. And this nutrient solution is what we send to the customer. And the customer can visualize everything in here, in the same place.